Jessica Keys, and this is my story, part of my story. I grew up in a Christian home with Christian parents, and they went to church every Sunday morning and evening and Wednesday night, good Christian people. And so I always have known God. I've always known about Jesus. There wasn't a time in my life before Jesus. It was always all-encompassing with God, and that's awesome, and I'm really thankful for that. It's a good upbringing. When I was 7, I realized in my small 7-year-old mind I would go to hell if Jesus came back, and so I was very convicted to become a Christian. And the church I was going to, that looked like being baptized. It was a Church of Christ, and that was their salvation process. And so I was baptized at 7 and committed my life to the Lord at little 7-year-old, and I was very serious about it. And I lived a life for God all through my teens. I brought my Bible to school. I was a really good Christian girl, and I married a Christian man, who's wonderful and also from a Christian home, and everything was going great. I led women's ministries, and I encouraged other moms because I had 4 children in 5 years, and that required a lot of faith. And a lot of coming back to God on a daily basis, of helping me maneuver through all these little bitty babies. And so I thought everything was going great. And then in 2012, Jason was in the military, and he deployed for the first time. And it was really tough. And I'd watched families go through deployments, and I thought, we can handle this, it'll be great. I mean, not great, but we'll survive, and it'll be okay. And about 4 months into it, Isaiah, my oldest, he was 8, started saying things that weren't safe. He said, so it was in the middle of the day, the kids are running around, and Isaiah's 8, and I'm just chasing, it's busy. And he says, I want to take the gun outside and shoot myself in the head. And it pinged my attention, but it was more like, oh, don't say that. Don't say that, Isaiah. And then I just kept going. And it wasn't until I went to bed that night that I ran through my day in my head, and I thought, that's not okay. So that was the beginning of a whole new season for us. Isaiah was diagnosed at the time with severe depression. He was 8. I didn't know 8-year-olds in healthy, stable homes could have depression. I always thought that would be an abusive situation or something. So that rocked my world. And I spent several years going forward trying to kind of combine and mesh and find a way to match my beliefs in God taking care of his people with an 8-year-old diagnosed with severe depression and the pain that he was going through. So it wasn't just a diagnosis. This looked like a broken-hearted child. He would say, it hurts right here, Mom. And any of you have been really sad, that's what it hurts. You have a physical pain inside your body. So that was 2012, and one of the hardest things for me to accept and process was I was doing everything right. We were Christians. We went to church. We read our Bible. We played praise and worship music in our home. We didn't watch R-rated movies, and we just did everything right. And my son was still sick. And it was also a sickness that people don't understand. Mental illness. People don't understand what we're talking about when we talk about depression. So in 2014, Jason got out of the military because we want to try and offer our kids a more stable life, hoping that would help Isaiah. And so we adjusted to civilian life, which was harder than we thought it would be. And Jason started working for the railroad, but 8 months later, he was furloughed, which is basically laid off with a promise of maybe we'll bring you back. And so we ended up living at someone else's house. We had no money, no income, and I have Isaiah who's struggling, and I fell apart. This was in 2015, and I that little crack from 2012 when he was diagnosed and my world kind of shook. Like, it took a couple years for that to I just fell apart. It's like describing like I ran into a brick wall. I'm just walking and ran into a brick wall, and all of who I was just fell on the ground. And it was very, people say, oh, I was in a dark place, but I really was. It really felt just dark. I thought, in one part of my mind, I thought, this probably isn't healthy, probably not good. But I was so in such a dark place that it didn't matter. There wasn't a way to feel better. I remember sitting on the edge of the bed, just staring out the window for hours. I was really, it was bad. And it was really bad for maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Not for a super long time. And what brought me the first little pinprick of light was the prayer of serenity. Just such a simple little prayer, but, and it was, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that was all I could do. And it was like huge darkness with a little tiny pinprick of light way far away. But that was great because there was nothing. So a little pinprick was great. And I just kept saying that prayer, and it gave me a focus. Like, I can't change Isaiah's diagnosis. I can pray and I can ask God, and I was, but I can't make him better. I can't get my husband a job, when he's out of work. I can't change these circumstances, and the ability to accept that and just accept this is just where we're at brought me a lot of peace. And I slowly made my way out of that dark space. And when I came out of it, I looked on the ground, all these broken pieces of me, and I didn't pick them all back up. I was a different person, and I picked up some parts, and all of it fell. So, like, my belief in God, don't want to be married, everything. Like, everything that made Jessica, just broke right off of me. So I thought, do I believe in God? Yes. We're too intricate of human beings for there not to be some greater being who created us. And I couldn't say no. So I picked that belief and put it back in my pocket and felt really good about that. And then, do I want to be married? Yeah, I really love my husband. He's really cute. No, I'm kidding. He is cute, but more than that, he loves me and he supports me, and he's my best friend. And I'm committed to that. So I put that back in my pocket. Do I want to be a mom? Well, I have lots of kids, and they're my babies, and I can't walk away from that. So I do want to be a mom. So and then I just move forward with those little basic pieces of me for a while. A while. And there's a lot of things I didn't pick back up. A lot of parenting beliefs that I didn't pick back up. And I began to approach parenting with a lot of grace, and a lot of my goals for my children being centered around they becoming human beings who treated other people with love and kindness. And that became a huge goal for me as a parent. And that also fell into just how I treat other people. When you fall and are crushed, you don't judge people the same way because I love where people are and what they're doing and where they're at, no matter what. Because I've been in the hard place. I've been in the dark place. And you just need love and support in those places. And I never really understood that until I crashed like that. And now I love people. And if they're hurting or broken, come and sit by me. I can look back and think, I can see that he's with me through those suffering times. But in the moment, I did not feel like God was with me at all. Honestly, I was mad at God because in those moments, I was angry that Isaiah was sick, and we didn't have money, and we were praying and asking God to fix it and make it better, and he wasn't. And that's what I was taught was, all things work together for the good of those who are in Christ Jesus and called according to his purpose. And in the middle of all that, that was not looking like that. Looking back now and all the growth in myself, and that's why I said begrudgingly, I can say, okay, God, that's what happened. You are faithful in taking something terrible like a depression, mental illness, and using it to mold us and shape us and make us into better people. And for Isaiah, and I asked Isaiah if I could share this because it's his story, and I worried about sharing that, but he said that was fine. So. And for Isaiah, this is his journey. This is his story. And he will be able to talk to other people with mental illness in ways that I can't. And he'll be able to reach out to people who are hurting and have a door that I don't have. And he's doing great, by the way. I believe in medication. Medication for mental illness is a great option, and that helped Isaiah a lot. And in also developing healthy coping skills and coping mechanisms, I believe is important. And just continue to educate our society and church that what mental illness is, and to welcome people of all backgrounds and where they're at. That's my main. I'm thankful for the hard stuff, and I tell Isaiah this too, because he feels bad that this is something we deal with as a family. And I say, well, but I'm a better mom because of this. I'm sorry you're hurting, but know that it's made me a better mom. I personally found peace in not asking God to change my circumstance. And it's okay if you do that, that's fine, of course. But for me, I was getting very frustrated that I was saying, God, please heal Isaiah. I know you're all powerful and you can do that. Please heal him. And nothing was changing. And so I decided I'm going to quit asking. Because either God doesn't care about that, or there's just a bigger picture going on here that I'm obviously missing. And so I'm just going to let that go. And my prayer shifted to, thank you, God, for my babies. Please help me be a good mother. Please give me peace and joy and compassion. And that helped me hold on to my faith, moved it in a little bit of a different direction. But and I struggled for a couple years too, being mad at God for Isaiah, and still not understanding had that plan. But just the past couple months, I reached a point of healing in my own heart where I could begrudgingly admit that I learned a lot, and that suffering for me produced really great results. And I don't like suffering. I think most people don't. I would think probably nobody likes suffering. But I can't deny the beautiful things in my own life. Made me a better mother. Made me reach out beyond. In my toolbox, I had like 2 basic approaches to parenting. And when you have a child with special needs, you got to reach past that. And so I developed these other parenting tools I actually really love. I really like my approach now. And I'm a better person in how I treat other people and how I see other people. And that was from suffering. I don't want to advocate suffering, but the plus is that you go through this and you do learn so much. I learned a lot from suffering. So that's my main story that I wanted to share was God's always been part of my life, but I hit that really rough patch, and but we walked through it, and I'm on the other side, and I'm thankful. I'm Jessica Keys, and this is my story.